I usually put my bonus pieces at the end of the show, but I figured I'd do something different and put it at the beginning. Check it out. Let's see, testing.
The hands look like the Black Johnny Bravo.
Yeah. He do. Like Diddy Kong.
Oh, are we recording?
I'm testing something.
Oh.
Yeah. Talk. You know.
Talk to you normally.
Talk to me normally.
Talk to you normally.
Oh, that's not normal.
I want to make sure my voice sounds good.
All right, then don't be extra then.
Are you saying I'm extra?
Just be.
Are you saying that I'm extra?
No, I'm just saying just do it how me and you when we normally talk. Like, don't try to put extras on nothing. Like, don't be, just be cool.
I can't help it that I have a husky voice.
No, that's not what I'm saying. But I mean, you don't have a husky voice. You have a lovely voice. I'm just saying, like, just, how when we in the car and we talking,
mm-hmm.
and like, act like the recorder is not even on. Like, how, like, when you get ready to, like, if I say, let me take this picture, and you gotta, like, you try to, like, real quick, and a lot of women do this, you try to, like, real quick primp yourself up because you're about to be having a picture taken of.
Is that a wrong thing?
Well, here's what I'm saying. Don't do that version of that when you know the recorder is on.
Whatever. Okay.
You good? So you gonna talk?
I'm excellent.
Well, see what I'm saying? You see how I use I'm excellent. How would you normally say that?
Maybe. I'm goofy, so sometimes I say things articulate. Sometimes I say shit ratchet. Just really depends. I can switch it up all in the same conversation. You know this about me. Am I lying?
All right. Cool.
I'm animated.
All right. Fair enough.
Am I not animated?
You are. Fair enough. Let's not be animated.
So you want me to dim my light for the sake of your show?
Absolutely.
I would never make you do that, baby. I love you the way that you are. I would never tell you to not be corny for the sake of my show.
First and foremost, I'm not corny, okay?
You're corny, baby, but I love you.
Second of all, that's really great that you would never ask me to do those things. We love each other for the differences in each other. Just be cool, baby. You be cool. Can you be cool for your boy? It's not even a show. It's just be cool. You so cute when you being cool. Did you know that? So you'll give me silent treatment?
That's how I be cool.
What are we 14 now?
I'm gonna give you the silent treatment. That's how I be cool. You done testing, right?
No.
Is this gonna be like snippets and takeouts from the show?
It's very possible this could be a bonus at the end.
Oh, cool. They can see how much of a jerk you are. How I always be saying that you're a jerk.
That piece might not make it in there.
Oh, it's going. I'm gonna make sure they know that it was part of it.
Episode 13 of the On the Air podcast, starring you and today's guest, writer, blogger, and foodie. She's an avid cook and curator of the Herbivore Journal. That's Herbivore with a U. She's a wonderful dreamer and loves to travel. You can follow her on Twitter at Pinky_Balboa. Please welcome Brittany. A few things I want to touch on before we get started. Shout out to everybody that's left a 5-star review on iTunes. I definitely appreciate those. We need those. If you guys like the show, just take a minute, leave a 5-star review, and I will shout you out on the show. Let's see. Let me go down the list. Let's see. Chef Waits. Shout out to the homie Chef Waits. Steve-O. I went to school with that kid. That's my homie. He says, absolutely great work. Intrigues you every time. Keep it going, bro. And I definitely appreciate that. Steve is not someone that would take the time to leave something if he didn't really feel that it was worth it. So thanks, brother. If you're on Android, because I get a lot of people say, "Hey, I don't really mess with Apple like that." Well, if you're on Android, you don't have to. Just download the Podcast Republic app and search for the show. Search for OTAP show, and it should pop up, because what it does is it pulls everything that's already on iTunes to that. So the Podcast Republic app on Android, or you can listen on the website otapshow.com. I only keep the 2 most recent episodes of the show on SoundCloud because it's the free account. So a lot of people come to me with an old SoundCloud leak, and I just direct them back to iTunes or Podcast Republic. Special shout out to Mr. Avery Brown. He's always supported the show from the beginning, and he doesn't have to, and I appreciate it. I just want you to know that I see you, and I appreciate that. If he's the only one that leaves a like on SoundCloud, it's just him. That's cool. I appreciate it. He makes sure I get feedback about the show, so I really appreciate that, brother. A couple places where you guys are going to see me other than here. I'm out promoting the show, trying to get everybody noticed, all my guests noticed on the show, so that we can have their endeavors promoted also. You will find me. Let's see. I did the Well, no, I haven't done it yet. I will be doing the 3-handled Moss covered wrestling podcast. I had the host for that one, or one of the hosts on that one. He's also the host for Metal for Brains podcast. I did that one also. That's Corey. Coming up, I'll be on the NWA P-Cast. That's the Negroes of the podcast show. And coming up, I'll also be on the SMS podcast, the Short Message Service podcast. Those 3 young ladies are doing an awesome job. I will be a couple of more places. I don't have those finalized yet, but I will bring the clips to you guys for all of those whenever I am, so that you guys can check out their shows also. Couple things going on with me. I am currently searching for a scuba diving school so that I can get my open water scuba diver certification, so that I can swim in the Georgia Aquarium with the whale shark. And a lot of people ask me, aren't you afraid of the whale shark? You know, it could kill you. Well, the cool thing about it is I'm not on the menu. They're herbivores. So, unless one decides that he suddenly likes meat, I should be okay. A couple more things. Shout out to Meek Mill for finally standing up for himself. That's about all he did. And Walmart. So we all know the issue with Walmart is they have 80 million checkout lines will only have 4 open. I'm willing to give a compromise. Walmart could have Wi-Fi, because every Walmart, or just about every Walmart I went in, it is so damn hard to get a signal, and I could be doing other shit while I'm standing in line in one of your 3 open checkout lanes. The least you could do is have Wi-Fi. Walmart, get Wi-Fi. I think that's all I got, y'all. Let's go ahead and get started with the show. This week on the show, we got one of the, I know you hate this one, Twitter elite.
Oh my God.
You are post 11K.
That has nothing to do with anything.
It has shit to do with shit. But there are some people that 11,000 followers means a whole lot to them.
Shit, I'm still broke.
You ever you ever get the question of how you get so many followers?
Yes. And like, how do you answer that? I didn't buy them. There's only really two. There's really only 2 answers to that.
Okay.
I tweeted 1 answer. I bought them 2 answers. That's about it.
So there's 11,000 people that are interested in your tweets.
You know, there's that little app where you can see if like most of your Twitter followers are real humans or spam.
Really?
I just assumed that, at least 10,000 of those are spam.
What app is that? Do you know?
I don't know. I've seen it come across the timeline. I just, I haven't been extremely motivated to check it out. But I think I might, just to see. I'm out of curiosity.
All right. So I am extremely nervous.
Why?
For this interview. I'm generally nervous before all of my interviews. You all might not know that, but I generally am. But because of who this person is, and I'm conflicted. I protect all of my guests and all of my guest interests. Before every show, I make sure that they are comfortable with what we're going to put out. I always give the option for our guests to listen to the show before it airs. I'm nervous twofold because one, this is Brittany. You guys follow her on Twitter, Pinky Balboa. This is Brittany.
Thank you.
How is your name spelled?
My name is spelled Brittany.
And that is?
Brittany.
What's Brittany?
BrittNiNee, whatever, without the A in it.
And most people call you...
Brittany.
Do you correct them?
No, I don't.
Are you going to start doing it?
I am.
Does it bother you?
It does a smidgen because who told you that the A was silent?
You know, it's conditioned. Most people don't know that there's a difference between it.
Right.
And we're here on the OTAP show spreading awareness on the correct pronunciation and the differences between Brittany and Brittany.
Yeah. I mean, of course they're similar, but there's an A in there and it's not silent. It's Brittany.
And you can't just say Brittany because that's what you want to say.
Right.
You don't have the right to call somebody something other than what their name is. And if you do, they don't have to answer. Oh, well, I'm gonna just say Brittany. No, you're not just gonna say Brittany. You got two options. You got Brittany or Pinky.
Yep.
If Brittany is too sophisticated for you, then you need to go ahead and say Pinky.
And then people have a problem with Pinky.
They got a problem. What do they say?
When people meet me and say, "What's your real name?" I don't want to call you Pinky. That's your Twitter name. Hold on.
Whoa.
Why not ask me where I got Pinky from? I did create the Twitter name. How you just gonna dismiss Pinky because you think it's just the Twitter name? But no, Pinky is almost just as much as my government name as Brittany is. Well, my grandmother, rest in peace, nicknamed me that at birth when she was in the room with my mom. I came out. She said I was extremely pink. She nicknamed all the babies in the family. That was her thing. You can't take that from her. So she nicknamed me that. I have been called Pinky since birth up until now as an adult. So I was Pinky before the porn star. And
the original.
People think that I've named myself after her. No. It's just she became...
People really think that?
Yeah. Why would you want to be named after a porn star? Like, I was Pinky before she was. It's just that she's famous for sucking penis.
We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us.
Exactly. So Pinky or Brittany are acceptable. So when you meet me, you can just call me Pinky. You don't have to call me Pinky Balboa. You can just say Pinky. So yeah, but people be like, "What's your real name?" I don't want to call you Pinky. That's your Twitter name. First of all,
sometimes
why don't you ask me about that? Like, why don't you ask me what I like to be referred to as? Don't just tell me. And sometimes I get snarky and they be like, "What's your real name?" I don't want to call you Pinky, and I be like, "Pinky." That's your real name? Yup. Since you want to dismiss it because you think you know everything.
Sometimes I don't know if you repeat it or not. Sometimes I just say Pink.
You never say that.
I do every now and then.
No, you don't.
I do. I slip it in there.
You don't.
I do.
You have not.
I have, and it's because I'm so smooth with it. You just let it. I don't know if you let it slide or is that cool?
Pink.
Yeah, I'm like, "What's up, Pink?"
That works.
I'm like, "Come here, Pink."
I hate Panky.
Because there's no A in it.
But people do it to say it the country.
To cater to their accent. That's like.
But the people that say it don't even have an accent. They just be like Panky.
Oh, you know why they do that? Friday. It's Panky. No. That's why they say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know. You ever said that?
No.
Say it.
No.
Say it. Say it aloud. Just say it aloud.
Where's the stop?
No. Say it. Say it one time.
No.
You've said it before.
For you, because you asked.
You said it for other people.
No, I have not. No.
I was just saying for me again. Nobody in this room.
No, because everybody else gonna hear it.
You know said it.
No, I'm not going to. As soon as I say it, you're gonna start busting out laughing.
Because I'm laughing with you. You gonna laugh too.
No, I'm not. I'm gonna
All right,
feel. I'm gonna feel like a fool.
All right, I won't laugh.
No,
I won't.
Then that's gonna make it awkward.
No, I won't.
Yes, it will.
So I should laugh.
You should cut this shit off.
Does it bother you if someone says Pinky Balboa and doesn't say the underscore?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's just when I say, like, if I've ever been on a recording or anything, I always say underscore, just in case, you know, somebody wants to go to my page, they'll know the right way to search for it.
Okay.
That's about it.
Okay. All right, so I'm nervous because you guys have heard me mention her on several podcasts. This is my girlfriend. There's a part of me that wants to be extremely protective because of who she is. But that would be doing a disservice to you, the listener. So I told her before we do this interview, I'm not taking it easy. I'm not going easy. And she says, well, I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't want you to take it easy. So, okay. So that's part of the reason. That's the main reason why I'm nervous. Because, and plus, you know, whenever I'm talking to her in general, you know, I don't want to fuck up anything because I still want her to smile.
Have sex with you.
I think I've delivered enough good sex to where that's not going to be a problem. That you are not going to. And what was that laugh about?
Nothing.
Because we cut this shit off right now and then remind you that.
You were trying to be politically correct. You were trying to not be that guy on the podcast. And I respect that. That's why I like you. Because you're a gentleman. But just cut to the shit. You want to make sure I still want to have sex with you. And you don't want to fuck it up by saying something out of line. So now that we got that out the way.
All right. Okay, cool. Let me sit back, son. All right. So, you are originally from Chicago.
Born and raised.
Born and raised. What about your parents?
Born and raised.
Okay. Yeah. I always find it interesting, and I mentioned this on Greg's podcast. One reason how we got to where we live. I always find it interesting how our parents got to where we are.
Right.
But your parents were born and raised here.
Yeah, my grandmother on my mom's side. She's from Mississippi, Greenwood, Mississippi. It's a really, really deep part of Mississippi, South. She was post-slavery, but still in a very oppressive time in Black history when she lived down there. So, which is funny, she lives there now again. But prior to her remarrying and moving back down there, she said she would never go back to the South. She never even wanted to visit the South. That's how traumatic it was for her. So she had 2 kids before she moved to Chicago. She had my mom. Then for a short period of time, she remarried and moved to Michigan. But for the most part, my mother is born and raised in Chicago. Same for my father. My grandmother, who is now resting in peace. Well, that's funny. I believe that she too was raised and born in Chicago. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now with my great grandmother, like on her side, I don't know a whole bunch about her, but I believe that she was for the most part born and raised from Chicago. Do have a lot of extended family in certain parts of Michigan, but yeah, Chicago's pretty much all that I know.
Oh, all right. Would you consider living anywhere else, particularly down south?
I love the South, and I just think it's probably because it's like in my bloodline, Southern, and there's this guy down there that I kind of like.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
he's dope.
He dope. Cool.
Shout out to him. You want to shout him out on the pod? All right, I'm not gonna do that on this podcast. I'm just bullshit. All right, I'm sorry. Let's do this. All right, so the first thing I want to talk into is have you started it yet? You are about to start a blog, and correct me, a website,
Mm-hmm.
Herbivore Journal.
Correct.
Tell us a little bit about that. Have you started this yet? Or have you gotten the domain, all of that?
I've started it. It's been just a thought for some months now. Just recently, like last week, literally, I came up with the name. So it's not Herbivore the way that we all know it to be spelled, HERB, but it's Herbivore, URBIVORE. And it's more so going to be angled toward urban living, recreation, mostly about food because I love food. Everybody that mostly follows me knows I love to cook. I'm a quote unquote foodie.
Oh, yeah.
So it's really just going to be about just a lot of things having to appeal to the senses, mostly sight, because haven't figured out a way to have smell on my website.
Coming soon. You heard it here first. We're going to figure that one out.
How you can do a scratch and sniff on my website. But yeah, it's just, I'm trying to stay I don't want to say stay in a lane as if like I can't branch out if I want to later on. But right now this is what I'm passionate about. I'm really passionate about traveling and culture, just really trying to branch out, experience other cultures, foods, music, things of that sort. That's pretty much what my blog is going to be about. Me, reviewing restaurants, reviewing different things I've tasted, trying to add my own spin to certain recipes, perhaps, because I am also trying to, live more of a healthier lifestyle. Not recently, but as of the beginning of 2015, I had officially lost 50 pounds. So I'm trying to, still enjoy life, not be so deprived, but find healthy ways to do it. So that's pretty much what the website is going to be designed around. It may sound a little disappointing to some people who are more familiar with like my short stories and my blogs, but I believe I may have something separate for that. But for right now, this is what my passion is.
So your blog, your SoFi blog, Sophisticated Ignorance, it's an incredible blog. I've read some.
Well,
of the
I want to
stories.
be clear that that's not my blog.
Oh, all right. So
No.
Before we get sued,
no, it's not about being sued. I don't ever want to take away the craft or ownership for anyone else. So, sophisticatedignorance.net is like a pop culture hip hop website that was started by Philly the Boss. Everybody probably knows who he is. A couple years ago, we followed each other. He, I guess, saw that I wrote blogs, and he gave me a section on his website to do just that. What appealed to me is that there was no filter. He allowed me to do what I wanted to do and express myself. So that's what I did. And I did a few things. My most recent were just real life stories that I put into like short story form, because I am kind of in the middle of writing a book as well. So that's what that's about. So I was given a platform on that website, but it's not mine per se. So I just wanted to clear that up.
So you took up residence.
Yeah, at least the spot there.
You still write for them?
I haven't written for them in some time.
Have you officially like quit, or is just you on hiatus? You just haven't done it in a while?
Just haven't done it in a while. Just period. I haven't really written anything. The last thing I was working on was my book. That was really my main focus. And I've admittedly gotten away from it. Just school and work and stuff like that. So just have to get back into finding time to get back to it. So just haven't written anything, period. Not anything just to do with his website. I haven't just done it. I just haven't.
And you want that piece to be separate from Herbivore Journal?
Yeah.
Like a whole separate website?
Probably.
You think it takes away from it?
No. I don't think it takes away from it, but I feel like it's two different aspects to my life. I can bring them both together if I really wanted to, but they're two separate passions. And one of my passions is food and traveling, culture. That's one of passion I have, and then just writing is another passion that I have. So I can, of course, bring those two together. And I believe that I will with Herbivore Journal because I'll be taking my own writing style and using it to, share what I've experienced with other people and things like that. So right now it's still a lot of just brainstorming. I have so many different thoughts in my head. So right now it's more so just finding the name was the hardest thing. And I listened to a podcast you had with Dennis, Toy Soldier. Shout out to him.
Shout out to Dennis.
And that was one thing, like, yes, like you can have an idea and a concept, but of how you're going to execute that can be the hardest thing ever. And execution is important. Some people are privileged to already have a certain audience or a certain platform where it's kind of like anything that they do, people will follow it or what have you. I'm not that arrogant yet. Like I have a lot of followers, but I'm not that arrogant yet. So I still am very, I'm very meticulous on how I decide to execute certain ideas. So yeah, so right now it's still in the making for it, but that's something I definitely have. I just haven't put
You don't want to put the address out there?
Not yet, no.
Okay. That's fine. And as soon as that happens, we will shout it out on the show.
Absolutely.
And, of course, you're always welcome to come back on and talk about that. Here's what I would like for you to do.
I know, because your show is my show.
Well, all right. So your show, my show is not your show. It's my show.
Okay.
And you can come on anytime you want to.
I know. I was joking with you.
I was just playing. No, but here's what I would like for you to do. Every so often, I said once a week, but then I was like, I do a show once a week. I don't want to put that kind of pressure on you. But every so often, I want you to come on and I want to give you basically maybe a 10, 15-minute episode on my show to talk about something that leads into your blog. You don't have to give all the details of what you type, but something to lead in for Herbivore Journal, something you reviewed or whatnot. Because I like to do some reviews, but I want you to do your restaurants and wherever you've been, you're traveling and things like that.
Right. Yeah.
Would that be cool?
That sounds like a great idea. I like that.
Okay. Cool. All right. Let's talk about, you have interesting views on your work-life balance and why that's important to you.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Work-life balance. Well, simply put, I don't believe in working my fingers down to the bone. I mean, I appreciate hard work. I think it's very important. But I'm not one of those people where I feel like, I need to overexert myself to be extremely successful because I measure what I feel is success. So I'm only going to put in what I want out of it, which I think everybody does in general. But, there's a lot of cliches of, I don't sleep. I stay up 27 hours out the day.
Right.
The earliest bird get the fattest worm. I mean, okay, that's fine. But
I'm tired of people making it seem like
sleep is not important.
It's not only sleep not important, but you're gonna somehow get rich by not going to sleep.
Right.
Yo, it's gonna be suffer from exhaustion. Then you're gonna be able to go to work. How you gonna have some money then when your ass can't work?
Right.
Sleep is a cousin of, man, get that shit out of here, man.
Well, if that's when you choose to sleep, go ahead. But I'm gonna get these. So, I'm really big on having a balance. I feel like everything has its own place. I never wanted to have a job or a career that would require me to think about it when I'm not there. And my motto is this: when you have a job, when you work for someone, when you step foot in that door, they expect you to hold off or leave all of your personal baggage outside of the job. You may have a cool supervisor or whoever, manager that'll, oh, we understand that everyone, has problems going on in this, but there's always a but. We kind of really need you to be a part of the team, We need you. And it's always, what can we do to help you to make sure your ass is at work? Not what can we do to make sure that your personal life is better,
Exactly.
or that you can attend to your personal life.
Exactly.
What can we do to make sure that your ass can clock in on time? So my thought is, if you're expecting me to leave my personal life at the door, I'm leaving you at the door when I walk out. So I'm not clocking into no laptops and no iPads when I get home, finishing up work or doing reports, or I'm not doing that. I do my work at work. If I want to work some overtime, it's because I want to work some overtime. Maybe I got something coming up and I want a couple of extra dollars. I don't feel like I need to overexert myself, because the thing is this. If they want to let my ass go, they're going to let my ass go. Now, there's things that you can do to make sure you don't get fired sooner. You don't just BS at the job and give them a reason to let you go. I'm not saying that either. But what I'm saying is that I personally don't believe in giving my whole all and entirety into a company or whatever, because if they want to let me go, they're going to let me go. And then what will I have to show for it?
Makes sense.
I work to be able to get by. I work to live. I don't live to work. So there's a part of me, I still need time to explore, to relax, to go out, to travel, to fly, whatever it is I want to do. I want to always be able to do that. And I don't believe in you have to make a certain amount of money to do that. Oh, no. Oh, absolutely not. As long as I ever have a job, I don't care if I'm making pennies. Some of them pennies going to get rubbed together, and I'm going to come up with a way to go out and do something that I enjoy to do.
Here's something that I've learned about working. You don't get perfect attendance awards and when you work. That's something that's left in school. So I used to just I still pride myself in being on work, and if I want to take off, I'm gonna take off. But before, it would be, I can't miss work. I got to be here all the time. I got to be here every day, and that's a good work. That's a good quality to have. But no one's gonna fire you for taking a day off if you request it within a certain amount of time. You rack up, if you work at a job that racks up PTO time or paid time off or vacation days, whatever, you are owed those days, and you have to assess yourself. Today might not be the day. Or you worked so hard these past few weeks where you need to take a couple of days off to recharge. Mm-hmm. You can do that. And I think a lot of that plays a part into the work-life balance. Because what happens is if you don't take that time, that's going to seep over into your life. You're going to be sleeping a little more at home when you should be out enjoying the world and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Another thing that I learned was that, and we kind of talked about this, was that there really is no such thing as job security, quote unquote.
That does not exist.
Exactly.
There's nothing that you can do to be like secured, never getting fired. That does not exist. I mean, I'm trying to see. I was just reading it. It was, what company was it? I mean, forget that. I'll use my own personal experience. Back in 2013, I guess it's safe to say this company name. I don't work for them no more. Mm-hmm. I worked for McGraw-Hill Publishing. If any of us have ever gone to school or been in college, you might have seen them on textbooks, things of that sort. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I worked for them for about 3 years. I moved up I don't want to say moved up, but I progressed very fast there. My first few months of working there, I got cross-trained in more sophisticated type of fields and, things of that sort, different products that I learned. Was there for quite some time. I mean, I don't have any drawbacks about the position. It was a really great job. And I mean, people that did get fired, I didn't understand why. Because it was like, what more do you want? Mm-hmm. It was a really great environment. It was a really great place to work. I don't want to say that they were lenient, but they themselves appreciated work-life balance, the company itself. So I never felt like I was working too much. When I did do overtime, it's simply because it was a job that didn't stress me out, where I didn't mind being there longer.
Right.
We were told around the beginning of 2013 that they were making some changes to our department. Whenever you hear changes to a department, always perk your ears up.
Motherfuckers about to get let go.
Even if the change is for the better, somebody's going to get cut.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes you got to shake off some of the old to embrace the new.
Yeah.
So whenever you hear department changes, always perk your ears up.
Yeah.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
We were told that some changes were going to be made, but we were told verbatim that our jobs were not in jeopardy. What we were told was that they were no longer going to be hiring temps to do a certain job, that they were now going to just give that work to us to keep us going, to keep us flowing. Then we had another meeting, maybe closer to the summertime of 2013, where they were going to outsource our department to this other company. I'm not going to say that company's name because you never know, I may need to work for them. That they were going to outsource our department to another company, and that pretty much it would just be a transition. Nothing's going to change. Somebody else is going to be cutting your checks. That's basically what we were told. And then by the time September came, one Friday I wasn't there. Because I was usually off on Fridays. So I wasn't there, and I'm getting text messages from coworkers like, whoa, they just let like 80 people go. And I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Still not really thinking nothing of it. Now, the 80 people that they had let go were fairly new. So, messed up. But in my mind, I'm thinking, well, that's fair. The rest of us been here for a while. Right. So, yeah, you let them newbies go. Mm-hmm. The following Friday, we had a meeting. And now it changed from we were going to transition to now, by March of 2014, we're going to completely shut down. And if you still want your job, you have to reapply with this new company and go through their entire hiring process, their entire interviewing process, renegotiate your salaries.
Did they, during that process, were they going to, I guess, in some form or fashion, move you ahead of the line?
No.
Or you were applying with the general public?
General public.
Wow.
Matter of fact, one of my coworkers had went online and the job was already posted on that company's website.
Wow.
So, yeah. Then, come to find out, a few people were going to transition to the new company already hired, because guess what? You're taking on a whole new client, taking on all these new products. Who you're going to have to train you on that?
Exactly.
You need some people from there. So they signed their contracts already. They already knew what their salary was going to be. Their jobs were okay. A month later, September, I'll never forget the date, September 21st. I'm at work, working, and I get told that this is my last day. Just like that.
Wow.
They had just opened up another department in Dubuque, Iowa. Mm-hmm. So we had a huge portion of our department here in Illinois that moved there. I mean, they moved, rented condos there, started a whole new life, picked up to run this new office. That same Friday, they had completely shut that office down. That office was only open for about 6 months.
Wow.
Told them what their severance would be and stuff like that. Then everybody that was left in Illinois, all of our supervisors and managers, they let them know when their official date would be. So their end date was December, others would be that March or February 2014. So at least they were given the time to find another job. We weren't. We were let go abruptly.
Did you apply for the other job? For the one they said you guys had to?
I looked into it and I felt, once I looked into it and saw what it was, I felt completely insulted. The pay was less. Now, granted, they had some really great benefits. They had some great benefits that McGraw-Hill wasn't even offering us. So that was kind of like, However, the two options were to either move to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, if you wanted to keep the job, or you could work remotely from home. Well, I already was kind of doing that with McGraw-Hill. I was kind of already a part of that launch that they had of the whole working from home thing. But being in the company that I was in for 3 years, and then having to start from scratch again with the same exact job that I'm already A1 perfect at, it just didn't appeal to me. Some people might have said, oh, you might have been arrogant. Maybe you should have did it. You could have got your foot. That's easier said than done. Mm-hmm. It taught me a lot, though. It taught me, because it made me realize, in hindsight is 2020, it made me realize I had gotten really complacent with where I was. I would have liked to, if I was going to be let go, I would have liked to been let go with some new major skill under my belt. I really wanted to be in training. I really wanted some type of supervisor type of position. I didn't shoot for those. I kind of let complacency hold me back while I was there. So that's the one thing where I'm like, I think it was an eye-opener for me to see, like, who knows if I could still be working there, still doing the same thing. Who knows? Would I've ever really have pushed myself, in that position? I mean, I enjoyed my job. I was damn good at it. I was making okay money until they started like cutting our hours and stuff like that. I was young. At the time, I was only 24. And I was, and for what I was doing, most people have to have a degree to do, and they taught me everything I know right there on the job with job training. You don't come across that very often. These days, to even get in the door, you have to have a degree. So when I look back, I say, I didn't really grab that bull by the horns like I should have. I didn't realize the opportunity I was sitting on. So now, and fortunate to have the job I have now I'm in the door pushing for something bigger, because if it comes 2-3 years down the line from now and I get let go from this job, I want to walk away with thank you for this. You know what I mean? I want to walk away with a portfolio this time around. So, it was abrupt. I wasn't prepared for it, but it gave me a lot to learn. I learned a lot. I got a lot from the job that on the resume looked good, because people who are familiar with that company, they're like, and they want to know, why don't you have that job anymore? So it makes for great conversation and interviews, which I'm thankful for that.
You take full advantage of that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So, but, aside from that, I did all the teacher pet shit that you do to try and keep your job.
And it didn't really.
It didn't mean shit. You're as good as their last day for you at any job. I mean, careers are great because if you have a certain skill, if you have a degree in something, even if one company lets you go, at least you can transfer those skills on to somewhere else. So
within that career,
right? So I'm not saying to not have good work ethic. Of course, you should. Right. If you have a career, of course, be great at it. Whatever you want out of that career, put in the work to do it. But I don't believe in doing that so much that you feel like, some people feel like it's a necessity to not enjoy life or, experience a little luxury every now and then because grind. But I'm just not that woman. Like, I'm going to take me a break, go get these mimosas real quick. I'm finna go stick my feet in the sand and I'll get back to my grind later. It helps me to stay focused when I'm having a chance to pull back and, and that just may be my introvert where we need those mental, recharges. Mm-hmm. I'm just not a go with no break. That's not me. I shut down easier that way than if I have balance. I'm way more easier. I'm way more focused. I'm way more, successful when I have balance. And that's just me. That's just something that I had to learn. I tried the whole, grind around the clock, work 2 and 3 jobs. That's not for me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe if I had kids or something, it'll be a little bit different. But right now, when it's really just me, I don't have a need for that. And I mean, I admire people who do because everybody's different, but it's just not for me. I need the balance.
There was this really morbid article that I read. And it was some of the things people would say on their deathbed, or things that they wished for on their deathbed, or wish they didn't do. And the number one thing on that list, I wish I could remember the article. I would tell you guys to go find it. The number one thing on that list that people would say was, I wish I didn't work so much.
Mm. Yeah.
And after reading that resonated with me, because I mean, I'm an admitted workaholic, but I am getting to a point now where I am taking time for myself and not feeling guilty about it.
I think I have a little something to do with it.
A little bit. A little bit. There's a little motivation in there from your part. I mean, you played a really big part. Still are playing a really big part in that. Because I used to take time off and feel bad about it. But then I got to a point now, it was like, if I called in tomorrow and y'all fired me, then y'all was looking for something to fire me for anyway. Like, me taking a day off does not undo all the other shit that I have done up until that point.
And I have some really bad advice to give everybody listening.
Okay.
You ain't got to tell them motherfuckers why you taking the day off.
You ain't got to tell them a goddamn thing.
They want to press you. Oh, is something going on? I'm taking a day off. Because the reason why...
Personal day.
The reason why is there's nothing that I'm going to tell you as to why I need to take this day off if me taking it off is jeopardizing my job.
Exactly.
Now, if you got some sympathy days lined up where, oh man, your mother got ran over by a car, okay, we won't fire you for that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I'm not finna lie. I'm not finna make up no extravagant story. And you don't need to know why I'm not going to be there, because guess what? I'm not going to be on your property, in your vicinity. I'm not going to be on your dime. I'm not going to be on your hour. I'm not going to be at work. So my personal life, or the reason that I need this day off, it's none of your business.
My reason shouldn't have a bearing on whether you quote unquote grant me this day off or not. It should be solely based on the business need. Now, if I come to you in this like such a short time frame and I ask for this day off and you're like, no, then all right, well then I have to make a decision on my part. But if I give you enough time in advance and I'm requesting a day off, you in neither scenario do you really need to know why, but especially in that, I don't really need to tell you. And I don't. I go to a person, like I don't say, hey, can I take, I'll say, look, on these days, I want to take these days off.
And I found that a lot of times they will try to use what you say against you.
Absolutely.
I recall calling in to this was a different job. I recall calling in to my supervisor, letting her know that I wasn't coming in. She asked why. And because it was a legitimate thing, I just told her why it was. Mm-hmm. Unbeknownst to me, she was recording and documenting all of it.
Wow.
And signed on it and put a date on it. And another situation had come up like a couple months later, where I had a doctor's appointment that I told them about. So I was taking like half a day. Once I got to the doctor's appointment, I'm not sure how familiar people are with doctors, but your appointment can be set at 9:30, and if your doctor sees fit, he won't see your ass until 11.
Yep.
And my doctor, she's private practice, so she's only at that location at certain days. So it may take me another 2 or 3 months to see her again. So I'm there. I'm stuck, and I told them a specific time. So I called and I said, I haven't seen my doctor yet. It may take a little bit longer. So then once I actually did get to see my doctor, I'm going through my, procedure and my checkup or whatever. It took another 2 to 3 hours. So So I'm like, okay, you wanted me to pull my phone out in the middle of a pap smear and call you and say, hey, I'm getting a pap smear. Did you want me to take a selfie of it too and send it to you? So because I ended up just having to not go in that day at all, because by the time I got out of there, I only had like 1 hour left of my shift. I'm not finna drive all the way there for 1 hour.
Right.
It's not that serious. So once I met with them, come to find out, she then pulls out a paper from that first time that I called off or said that I was going to be late, talking about, can you sign this? No, I can't sign that. Mm-mm.
Did she ask you why?
Yeah, she said, well, if you don't sign it, it can be taken as a sign of subordination. That's what you're probably going to have to. If that's the only thing that you can find to call it, then let's go with that.
Exactly.
Because if something happens now, if you fire me, if I lose my job, then you're going to try and fight me on my unemployment. Not going to work. I know better than that. You live and you learn. And it just goes back to, I'm not giving you my all for this damn job. Yeah, I need it. Yeah, I want it. But there's a line that has to be crossed. And I mean, this is just me as a young woman who occasionally has an emergency that comes up. I've worked with women, single mothers with kids. Women can barely get maternity leave these days. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So these jobs, they pay you, but you make them more money than they pay you.
Absolutely. I think it's one of those things where you give 100% effort. You give 100% effort in what you're doing. But 100% effort doesn't mean give them every little ounce of you.
Absolutely.
I can put a bunch of effort into standing in one place all day. That doesn't mean I gotta give you everything I have to do it. You know what I mean? Just to separate them. So yeah, that was a good piece of great advice and bad advice. And bad advice. Let's change gears up a little bit. Are you a feminist? Would you consider yourself a feminist?
Oh God.
No, and I'm bringing this up for a reason because I know what you're thinking. You're thinking of the villainous term of feminist, and I'm hoping that you set the record straight.
The simplest term of a feminist is basically anyone who fights or stands up for women's rights. And that, I might be kind of off with the definition, but that's as simple as I can put it for anybody who's not familiar with what the term is. That's simply what that means. Mm-hmm. As far as the movement of it or the action that a lot of women across the world puts into being, a self-proclaimed feminist, or the different movements that they have, in that aspect, I would say no. I haven't gone out and fought for specific rights. I'm in full support of it. Absolutely. I haven't laid any groundwork. I haven't made any huge changes for women across the globe. So in that aspect, I say no.
Well, I don't think you have to do all those things to be a feminist. I mean, it's great to
Well, that's why I said in the simplest form, the simplest definition of a feminist, yes. I wouldn't understand a woman that isn't. I'm going to get to that in just a second, though.
Okay.
So in the simplest term of the suggestive term of a feminist, yes, I am. I'm never against women having rights or being able to, live their life as equally or what have you as men do. I would never be against that. But I think that when I was first introduced to, feminism or what a feminist is, I was a little intimidated because, it made me go and research and really understand what it really means to be a feminist or what it is feminists are fighting for. So when I was really introduced to the idea of feminism or what a feminist is, it made me feel intimidated. I was like, I ain't doing a damn thing in this world. I ain't shit. But, 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 I ain't shit. just, in taking the time out to wanting to even educate myself about the rights of women across the globe, not just in America, it's like, wow, we do need this. This is really important. And then going back in history, seeing what women before me have done so that I'm able to be who I am today. The reason why, if I choose to go and vote, a woman did that. The fact that I am able to go and apply for a job and have a job. The reason why I'm able to go to college, a woman before me did. I may not even know all of the feminists before me or their names or what they did, but the fact that some woman or some women go out there to fight for things so that all women can have it, that's powerful to me. So in that large spectrum of idea of a feminist, no, I wouldn't say that I am, because I haven't even made it to the surface. I'm a below the surface of the power or the things that feminists have done for me. So no, I wouldn't stamp myself with that. But in the very simplest layman definition of what a feminist is, then yeah, I am.
So feminism, it's not a matter of black and white or race, like some people try to make it.
Oh, it's been tried to have been made that way, but it isn't. I think that now that I have a really good idea of what feminism is, I think what I'm more annoyed by is the hidden agendas that even some women try to push with feminism.
Such as?
Some women will use feminism for extreme things. For me, what I think is extreme is patriarchy is a real thing. Misogyny is a real thing. But I think it's really trivial with the whole, submission in relationships and blah, 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 blah. Because I don't really think that I'm not saying that feminism doesn't help play a part in making sure that women are aware that they don't have to do certain things in a relationship. That's different in saying you shouldn't do that in a relationship.
Right.
I'm fully aware that as a woman, as an adult, as an equal to a man, that I don't have to do shit. But if I choose to, I don't think you have the right to say that I'm abiding by patriarchal whatever.
Right. It doesn't challenge your feminism to cater to your dude.
It doesn't make me less of a woman if I decide that, yeah, I do enjoy being submissive. I do enjoy being domesticated. I do enjoy doing this. I do enjoy doing that. I think there's two different things. As long as you also know that. It's important for men to understand that too. That if a woman decides that she wants to be submissive or that she wants to be domesticated, it's a privilege that I have that she chooses to want to do that with me. It's not something that I'm entitled to. So in that aspect, I feel that feminism is important so that women don't feel like they have to do that. That women don't feel like this is the only way that you can be valued by a man is if you cook all day and you wash clothes and if you do laundry. That I think is important for women to understand. But I think that if in that same mind frame that you're aware that you have that option, that if you okay and that you decide to do it, then I think that you might be overstepping your boundaries if you're trying to tell this woman that she's wrong if she decides to do it.
Makes sense. All right, so give us a few examples of some things that you've seen or that you've heard about what feminist is or what feminist isn't versus what it is.
I mostly only really see conversations about feminism on Twitter. I don't really hear it talked about anywhere else. And like I said, Twitter is a land of extremes. Just kind of what I was touching on, I think that people reduce feminism to man hating.
Yeah.
People reduce feminism to how you decide to function in a relationship. Oh, feminists don't like sex. They hate men. They all single. None of them are wives.
Let me tell you, like, any chick that I've heard, or any dude that I've heard that say like it's about man hating. When you don't know what you're talking about, or that they don't like sex, you definitely know what you're talking about. Because every feminist I know loves to fuck. Every feminist I know loves men, and they be after that wood. Feminists be out here fucking. that's the real. So if you come across one that's like they hate men, they don't need men. If she's heterosexual, I would question whether or not you're a real feminist. I seen somebody say in some regards we all are feminists, and based on that definition, I would say that because I'm. What's the MJ hashtag? Lean in. You know, I want to. I do everything I can to support it. So
it's just women are at the forefront of making sure certain things get done, but men can be feminine. I mean, you know, it can be made a mockery out of at times, but I mean, if you, like I said, in the very simplest idea of what a feminist is, if you are in complete support of women's rights, you could technically be called a feminist in the simplest term or the simplest definition of the word.
What are some rights or privileges now that women have that they don't really think about that were probably brought about because of feminism?
You know, when I see women on Twitter, you know, try to disengage or try to pull themselves away from feminists, and they refer to feminists as feminist hoes or feminist bitches, or oh, here comes feminist Twitter, you know, trying to make it seem like we're just these world apart from each other. We're really not. We're really not, because you're able to fucking tweet because women have rights and a woman fought for you to have the rights. It could be as simple as that.
Yeah.
And this is not like me making it up. This is a real thing. You can go and Google it. A lot of women in some, you know, Islamic countries aren't allowed to even drive cars because they say that it's immoral. So if you know what the word immoral means, like, what's the morale behind driving a car?
Exactly.
That is the most outrageous thing that you could ever think. But they're not allowed to do it. That's what they're fighting for. Little girls in Rwanda. It's actually a documentary on Netflix about. I can't think of the name of it, but I'll tweet it out once I find it later. There's a documentary on Netflix. Little virgin girls in Rwanda are being raped by men because they think that it cures you from HIV and AIDS.
That's terrible.
If all the men there, even the men with political authority, if all the men there believe this, who do you think has to protect those little girls? Women. The act of them making sure that this stops or that this doesn't continue to happen is an act of feminism. So if you want to disengage or you want to separate yourself from feminists because, you know, you think it's ridiculous, or, you know, you think that feminists are just extreme or what have you, that's fine. But when it comes time for you to benefit from it, make sure you disengage your ass from that shit too.
Exactly.
If you don't want to be a part of feminist rights and acts, whatever gets passed or whatever gets, you know, becomes successful on behalf of women to make sure that we are equal, that we are not being oppressed, or that we're not being stripped of our rights as women or as humans. If you don't want to be a part of that shit, don't be a part of the shit that they move mountains for on your behalf. Make sure you stop doing that shit too. Stop voting.
Yeah.
Because that has shit to do with feminism.
Yeah.
Stop voting. Don't take your ass up to that pole. Sit your ass down. Stop working. Stop going to school. Stop showing your face. Wear sheets when you go out in public.
Stop complaining about the amount of money you make.
Everything. Stop it. Because you don't want to be a part of them feminist hoes and them feminist bitches. Well, then don't. How about that? So it's always an extreme. I mean, like I said, there are some self-proclaimed feminist women who do take things to the extreme. And then you have the other side of the, I ain't no feminist. Them feminist women be doing it. Girl, shut your ass up. You know what I mean? Like, it's so hard for people to find the middle ground and shit. And like I said, a lot of shit is trivial. Y'all sitting on Twitter all day, reducing feminism to submission in relationships. If you don't go get you a Dr. Seuss book and shut the fuck up, is this really what you're talking about?
That's all. That's all they know. That's all they know.
Trivial shit. Like, open your eyes up. Go read a book. Go Google some shit. Go watch some documentaries on Netflix. And I think I did post a couple documentaries on Netflix. And what I said was, if you really want to know what feminism is or why it's important, watch these documentaries. And I put that out for men and women, because there's a lot of men who don't understand it, that make a mockery out of it. And there are women who make a mockery out of it too. But it's a real thing. It's important. Feminists can be in the very smallest of forms. Very small. That people don't even realize. But most of what we have is because a woman or some women came together and decided that they wanted to fight for us to have it. We may not know their names. They may have been lost in transition. Mm-hmm. They may have never gotten the accolades or the public, appraisal that they should have. But they exist, and they're the reason why we're able to do it.
Okay, well said. Let's change gears one more time. Let's talk about the relationship with your dad. You have a very I don't know if interesting is the word for it. What I'm most intrigued by is the way that you handle the relationship with your dad. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about that. Has your dad been in your life the entire time?
Mm-hmm. And this is a tough topic for me.
Yeah.
Because, and I'm going to answer your question. I'm just going to say why it's a tough topic for me, because a lot of things are relative and subjective. A lot of things are.
Yes, how it is.
So there's parts of me that I have a strong thing about protecting your family. And I'm not one that really believes in, talking about family things with outsiders, because I feel like you are allowing people to infiltrate your family. But so it's a tough thing for me. But I think that now, as an adult, as a young woman, I think that I can honestly and openly discuss it. So, has my dad always been a part of my life? Yes.
Okay.
Has he always played the role that he should as a father? No. He's always been there. He's never been so far removed that I couldn't reach out or touch him or call him or know where he is. So in that aspect, yes, he's been a part of my life. But he hasn't always necessarily played the role. Very tough to avoid making excuses. I just had to hold back from making an excuse right now. Mm-hmm. I think that we have an unspoken understanding of our relationship. I don't hate him. He doesn't hate me. I love him. He loves me. But I think we're both at this point of, we've gotten this far. How the fuck would we go back now? Or where would we even begin to start to either establish or rebuild to have a real, true father-daughter relationship? And I think I'm at the point where it's like, leave well enough alone. And I think he's at the point of leave well enough alone, but for two different reasons. So there's a lot of things I wish that he was more proactive in. A lot of more things I wish he was there to see, to be a part of, and he wasn't. So those things hurt. I think that hurts more than not ever knowing who your father is. Because I think that if you never know who your father is, you have hurt and you may have questions, but I think and I don't want to speak for anybody who is in that situation where they don't know who their father is. I don't want to speak for them, but I think that you can kind of build off of an imagination when you don't know who that person is. I don't have an imagination to build off of because I know who he is. I know things about him. I know his characteristics. So my questions can easily be answered if I ever just reach out and ask him, but that desire has left me long ago.
So with that desire having left you long ago, you don't operate in a fashion that you are. Maybe there was a period when you were, but as it stands, you don't operate in a fashion that suggests that you're angry about it or that you're bitter about it, that you hold any sort of angst towards it. How? Why is that?
It took some time to get there.
Hmm.
It first took me realizing that I was angry and that I was bitter about it for me to finally stop being angry and stop being bitter. For a long time, I didn't know that I was angry.
Well, what did you think you were?
Indifferent.
Mm.
I thought that I was indifferent. I thought that it didn't really bother me. But it took me realizing that certain things would trigger a reaction out of me, and I had to realize that that was because of having a certain feeling about my dad not being as proactive in my life as I would have liked him to be. So a man could say or do a certain thing and I would snap off. And you know me, I'm not real hothead.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not very temperamental at all. But I would subconsciously equate that to some sort of characteristic that my dad would have. So in that aspect, anger and bitterness will come out. For a long time, and at a very young age, was, not normal. But for a long time, I just assumed that men didn't have emotions. So I didn't really care how I treated them.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be mean to them, but I was very, very dismissive of men, period. Like, the whole idea of like a male ego, that's new to me. That I was like, that exists? What's that? The whole idea of, oh, men have feelings too. Men have hearts. Men can be broken. They can? Oh.
Why did you think that men didn't have that though?
Because if you could bring a daughter or a child into the world and not be there and call her every day and make sure she's okay, or, not do basic shit that fathers do, then you must not have been given the same type of love and affection that a woman has for her child when she does. So I kind of just thought that that's how men are. And then from seeing certain things in my environment, on my mom's side of the family, there's not a lot of men. Most of my aunts, single women, single mothers. So the only man that I really had that connection with was my grandfather, and he wasn't even my biological grandfather. He was my mom and all her siblings' stepfather. So he sort of came in and played that role of father to them. And then when my mom got pregnant with me when I was born, he was my granddad. He's the one that would, give me piggyback rides and, stuff that you do with a little girl. So once he died, that was it. I didn't have that again. And granted, my mom remarried with my stepdad, and we never really had it either. Me and him, like, we never had that nurturing daddy-daughter type of relationship either. And again, don't want to make any excuses for him, but as an adult, hindsight is 2020. I think a lot of that has to do with my mom, and then at the time, my dad wasn't more so worried about me. He was more so worried about some other man being in what he felt was his territory. So then it kind of made it difficult for him to play that role fully all the way through. So didn't really have that father-daughter type of bond. So, didn't really have that father-daughter type of bond. So, didn't really have that father-daughter type of bond. So, didn't really have that father-daughter type of bond. So, didn't really have that father-daughter type of bond. So, didn't really have that father-daughter type of bond. So, didn't really have that father-daughter type of bond. So, didn't really have that father-daughter type of bond. So, didn't really have that father-daughter type of bond. So, didn't really have that father-daughter type of bond. So, didn't really have that father-daughter type of bond. So, didn't really have that father-daughter type of bond. So, didn't really have that father-daughter type of bond. So, didn't really have that father-daughter type of bond. So, didn't really have that father-daughter type of bond. So, didn't really have that father-daughter type of bond. So, didn't really have that father-daughter type of bond. So, didn't really have that father-daughter type of bond. So, didn't really have that father-daughter not ever getting affection from a man. What is that? What is, and it's not that I was seeking it. I think people have this idea of, oh, when little girls don't have a father figure, they go out looking for love everywhere. I don't necessarily think that's always true. I didn't go out seeking for it. I just didn't think it existed. So I didn't really care. I just assumed men don't like you. Men don't really love you. So if you don't want to talk to him, if you don't want to call him, or if you want to start dating his friend, he ain't going to care. Men don't care. They don't care about nothing. That's how I truly felt. So that's how I carried myself. Like, men don't care.
So what made you finally realize that we do care?
When I really hurt somebody.
How did you know that they were really hurt? If you didn't have a concept that this person could be hurt,
because they showed that they care. And I think that I might have hurt other men too, but men are also conditioned to not really show emotion either.
Right.
So it really didn't help against my claims that they didn't care, because that's mostly how men are conditioned to be anyway.
So how did he show it? And take me through how you felt inside.
We were in a relationship, and we said I love you all the time, and he just he did things that men do when they love a woman. I don't necessarily have to itemize it, but
right.
If you've ever experienced love for men, you know what they do. Mm-hmm. So that's what he did, and just me being young, dumb, ruthless, I entertained other guys because in my mind I was like, well, this ain't like a real relationship. It's like, we cool with each other, but I guess like the thought of love was like pretentious to me. I guess it was like not a real thing. Mm-hmm. In my mind, I kind of just thought it was something that you do, like, oh, you boyfriend and girlfriend, you kind of just do that. So me, I would hang out with other guys or go party with my cousins and this and that, and be like, what? Like, I didn't know. And, he was like, I'm hurt. Like, he said, I'm hurt. Like, he said the words. And I was like, well, this is awkward.
You wasn't like, fuck out of here. You ain't got feelings.
No, because I could really see that he was hurt. Like, he cried and, like, and he told me, like, you really don't care. And it's not that I didn't care. It was just like, I just thought that this is how it goes. Like,
did you ever explain that to him?
Later. I couldn't articulate it at that time because I didn't really understand. But later, as time had went past, I was able to say that to him. So,
was this before or after you come to terms with you being angry with your dad?
It was before then.
Did it help you get to a point where you recognized you were angry and were able to move forward?
Yeah.
Was that the quote unquote catalyst? Was that the move that helped you realize that you were angry?
No.
So what was that, and what helped you get past that to the point where you are now?
I started to recognize that I was attracting men like my dad and expecting them to give things that they didn't have. I had to recognize that there was a pattern that it helped me to realize to not expect more of people than what they are willing to give you. And as brutal and cold as it is, you have to do the same thing about parents. If you're somebody who's doesn't have a good relationship with one of your parents, if you're a person who has an estranged relationship with your parent is a human before they're anything else. Mm-hmm. Before you came along, they had a childhood, they had teenhood, whatever age they gave birth to you, maybe partial of an adulthood. So there was this whole human being with a whole history, a whole makeup, all these characteristics before you came into the picture. In an ideal world, most parents jump into action and set aside the BS and do what they have to do to make sure that this child is taken care of and is loved and this and that. But unfortunately, not everybody that becomes a parent does that. And that's just the simple fact of humans being flawed. So once I realized that I would have the same anger towards them equal to the anger that I had of my father, I realized that I had to change how I view things. I had to change how I view myself. Because my father not being as proactive in my life as he should have been or as he could have been, yeah, I'm a product of that. But at the end of the day, that's something he has to deal with. I didn't bring him into the world. He brought me into the world.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to hold any guilt about that. Why should I walk around with baggage of that? I didn't drop the ball. I didn't walk out on a responsibility. He did that. And if he's able to still function and be cool and live a great life, why should I deprive myself of that? If he got over it, why can't I get over it? I don't owe anybody the best parts of me. Just how we was talking about with your job, how you don't owe your job your whole life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't owe my father my whole life either, or my mother. I don't owe anybody my whole life. I owe it to myself to be happy. I owe it to myself to learn how to love. I owe it to myself to get over it. Move on. Life continues on regardless of any cards that you were dealt. And so that's kind of, where I came to it. Like, you're going to sit here and self-destruct, or you're going to sit here and hurt other people, because of you refuse to accept, you know what I mean? Like, right. I had to first accept it. I would make excuses, or I would lie for him. I would try to make people feel like we had a way greater relationship than what we really had, trying to protect him. And I'm like, that's too much. That's heavy on the heart. That's too much weight on your shoulders having to do that. That's not my job.
Right.
Let that go. You know what I mean? And like I said, I don't hate him. I love my dad to death. And he has done some great things for me. Like, we've had great conversations. He's given me good talks. And, my pro-blackness comes from him. At a very young age, he put black pride into my heart at a very young age. Just about, being educated, being smart. He always told me I was beautiful too, but he always put it into my head to be smart and to be intelligent, because my mind would be my greatest weapon. Because I don't want to make it sound bad, but to America and to the world, a beautiful black woman ain't shit. You hold no reign, you hold no status to a beautiful white woman or anybody else. So your greatest asset is going to be your intelligence. It's going to be your education. So for things like that, I really love him for that, because it's a part of why I have the views that I have now, because he instilled that into me at a very young age.
All right. Okay. Let's transition from one tough conversation to another one. You want to talk about your impulsive disorder?
Yes.
All right. So first, before we get into what that is, just let the listeners know what an impulsive disorder is.
It's a disorder that people have that are out of the norm of the average person. And it can come in different forms that people may not look at as a disorder, but it's really an urge, something that you can't control. That's when it becomes, I'm not even sure if I'm using it right. Is it impulsive or compulsive? I think it might be compulsive.
Part of it is compulsive.
I think it's compulsive. Sorry about that, guys.
Let me look it up just to make sure. I get the two confused also.
I do. That's a problem that I have. I think it's compulsive.
I think it is compulsive. Yeah, it is compulsive. I get that confused.
Yeah, compulsive. So a compulsive disorder is when people have an urge to do things that they can't control, especially when it starts to become unhealthy. That's the simplest way that I can form it, can put it into words.
Okay. And so let's talk about yours when you first discovered it and how you dealt with it.
So I have a disorder called...
Find out next week when we continue with part 2 of the Pinky interview. I'd like to thank our guests for coming on today. And if you'd like to be a guest on the show, send an email to otap@writeme.com. Follow the conversation on Twitter by searching the hashtag OTAP, that's OTAP, or following us on Twitter at OTAP Show. You can find the show on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Android users can listen to the podcast on Podcast Republic. Just download the app and search OTAP Show. On behalf of our guest, I'm your host, Corey, and I'll see you back here next week on the Air Podcast, starring you.